The dulcimer, as far as musical instruments in southern Appalachia and in probably all of the eastern part of the United States, is in a category, I think, by itself. It's an instrument that was played by itself. You couldn't, it had a low sound, and I just never heard, except on very rare occasion, the dulcimer was never played with other instruments, number one. Number two, I guess the proper name may be the mountain dulcimer, because there were other instruments called dulcimers going back to biblical times, and but it was not used much even in southern Appalachia. If you take 5 counties near us, Anderson County, Roane County, Morgan County, and 10 counties, in all of the collecting, I've never found a single one in this general area from here south toward Chattanooga. Now, in southwest Virginia, you found quite a few, in fact, more there than most anywhere, and in eastern Kentucky and in western North Carolina. So most of the people in this region 50 years ago, or when I was growing up, you could go up and down the road asking for a dulcimer or doing research on, you could go to 50 houses and nobody would have even heard of one. I mean, it was a strange word. And the question of how it became introduced is still up for some speculation, but it was a late instrument in our area. Probably almost none turned up before the Civil War. The person that popularized the dulcimer more than anyone else, I think, was a lady by the name of Jean Ritchie, and she lived in eastern Kentucky, a place called Viper, not too far from Hazard, I guess. She was one of 14 or 15 children, and why did she pick up the dulcimer, and where did she hear about it? There was an old lady up the hollow from her by the name of Hall, and they had a dulcimer, and some person in that community had made it, and I think that's where Jean first heard it, and then she started playing. It was a terribly isolated place, and then she went to New York and started recording, and I think if it had not been for Jean Ritchie, you know, nobody would have known about the dulcimer. So it was very sporadic in its distribution, and not one, as I say, in certain spots you would find them.
In your collection, they're all different shapes and different...
There's two Smith, a gentleman by the name of Smith, and they've written books on them, and they can look, and I can to a certain extent, at a dulcimer and tell where it was made by the shape and the configuration and all. In lower, this is an exception to what I was saying a while ago about where you found them. In lower Middle Tennessee, they had a rectangular instrument that they called a dulcimer, and some people referred to them as scantlings, but every one of those that I've ever seen came from Giles County and Pulaski and South. But the question as to who introduced them and exactly when is pretty much a mystery, I think. But it was a late instrument, and it was not widespread.